Peace and blessings, everybody. This is Kepra hollering at you again, also known as Ifa Lo Wo Fayemi. Today I want to talk about Ika Meji, which is the 11th Odu of the 16 Magis of the wisdom of Ifa. Now, Ika Meji is known as the controller, and it comes with an interesting metaphor. It talks about how Olofi gave instructions to the snake to make sacrifice, and the snake refused, and as a result ended up biting himself in the tail and poisoning himself. And this is the metaphor of how human beings tend to act when someone is instructed to make the right decision and instead they make the wrong decision, and therefore the harm upon themselves is self-inflicted. So we're warned to beware participating in wickedness. Behavior that we know is disagreeable and will have negative results. You know, and Ifa, in this Odu, and Ika Meji, it talks about gaining wisdom and accomplishing a great task. Here, sacrifice is also necessary so that you do not continue to start projects and leave them incomplete. A lot of times we find ourselves among haters, and it's important that we ourselves do not become the haters. And we also find ourselves in situations when we may need help from friends, loved ones, relatives, and when it comes time for their help, they're nowhere to be found. This makes us want to lash out. Ifa tells us to refrain from this type of behavior. Now, there's a such necessity for self-defense. However, what's superior to self-defense is self-control. Ika Meji teaches us to gather our power as opposed to giving away our power. Ika Meji deals with drawing our power in and putting it all back together. Now in Ifa, there's a such thing as praise poetry called oriki. In order to hit those high notes, those tones and vibrations, you gotta exercise the proper breathing. Before one starts an oriki, they'll take a deep breath, breathing in and drawing in the power in Ashe to put forth the necessary energy behind the words of power uttered. We also need to be mindful of what we say, not only about others, but also what we say about ourselves. There is a such thing as self-hexing, and many times we utter these things jokingly. However, there's something within our psyche that always takes it personally, or should I say literally. So we have to be mindful of what we say about others, as well as about ourselves. And better yet, we are warned and cautioned in this Odu to be mindful of our thoughts, words, and actions. In Ika Meji, we learn how to practice restraint. Let's say you're having a dialogue which turns into an argument. Here you learn how to not fly off the handle, and we're recommended to practice tactfulness. And depending on the situation, you may want to call someone out, or it could cost you something that you work hard for by doing so. So it's not always necessary to call someone out, and you have to assess your situation. There's always a time and a place. Also, be mindful that you're getting enough rest as well as exercise. You want to keep in balance these things. You want to keep them balanced, should I say. And you also want to pay attention to what you put inside of your body. Your physical as well as your mental health is important here. This is related to taking control of our personal lives. A lot of times when we want to learn and develop self-control, we learn how to move our bodies. One form is that, like the martial arts, Qigong, Tai Chi, yoga. And there's also African dancing, when you learn how to become more coordinated. We master how to work with our bodies and minds. That puts us on the road to becoming better as individuals. Ika Meji deals with power, also words of power. When you see this Odu, It's telling you to not only be careful what you say, but explore how to use words of power, whether it's chanting Ankh or Om or making positive affirmations. A lot of times we say negative things about ourselves, so it's time for us to say positive things about ourselves and to ourselves. Words of empowerment to self is important. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, my sisters and brothers. Have a wonderful day. The next Odu that we will talk about is going to be Ika Meji. Until then, peace and blessings.